Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. There is no doubt that Fernando Alonso is the greatest racing driver of all time. You just can't disagree with 12 Formula 1 World Championships and a career spanning nearly 2.5 decades. So on this lovely April 1st, let's look back at the career of Fernando Alonso and how he managed to negotiate every part of his career perfectly and make no mistakes whatsoever in joining the right team at the right time. It's honestly miraculous that this little boy from Oviedo has come up through the ranks to become the one true GOAT of motorsport, whilst others who have raced in the last couple of decades have come away with nothing. So let's talk about Formula One's biggest star, Fernando Alonso. Make sure you subscribe and let's jump into the video. Fernando Alonso began karting at a very young age. He was just 3 years old when he first had a go in a kart built by his father. A few years later, he was junior karting champion and eventually national champion, with wins in European and world karting. He began his car racing career by winning the 1999 Euro Open by Nissan single-seater series, followed by a 4th place overall in International F3000 in 2000 for Team Astro Mega. Alonso got his first taste of Formula 1 machinery at the age of 19 and was the Minardi reserve driver for 2000. He took a seat at Minardi for 2001 and did a decent job with the backmarkers, but his best finish of 10th at the German Grand Prix was still only good enough for 23rd. Alonso waited patiently on the sidelines for 2002 as a reserve driver for Renault. He was promoted back to Formula 1 for 2003 and immediately set about breaking records, becoming the youngest ever pole sitter in just his second race for the team, and later beating a near 40-year-old record by becoming the youngest ever race winner. His results in 2003 and 2004 set him up as one of the most exciting young drivers in the field, but 2005 and 2006 started Alonso on his path to greatness. These were the years he went head-to-head with 7-time champion Michael Schumacher, and Fernando Alonso came out on top. The first person to beat Michael Schumacher in the championship since Mika Hakkinen 6 years before. Even after all this success with Renault, Fernando Alonso made the jump to McLaren, replacing Kimi Raikkonen, who had gone to Ferrari to replace the now retiring Michael Schumacher. Fernando Alonso arrived at McLaren with rookie teammate Lewis Hamilton, and the pair formed a strong teacher-student bond. Nothing went wrong all year, and despite Hamilton challenging Alonso at times, Fernando kept his head and used his experience to his advantage, beating his young teammate and Kimi Raikkonen to the 2007 championship. He won a 4th title in a row in 2008, Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari running into issues, having accidents and just dropping too many points to be a threat to the Spaniard, who dominated the championship, winning the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix ahead of young Renault star Heikki Kovalainen. The race was almost completely instant-free, outside of Felipe Massa driving out of the pits with his fuel hose still attached. But no crashes. In 2009, Brawn turned up and rocked Formula 1 by winning the championship at the first attempt, mostly due to their early season advantage with the rear diffuser. McLaren, meanwhile, had a tough time adapting to the new regulations, and a frustrated Fernando Alonso left for Ferrari for 2010. It was a tight championship fight for Alonso, with both Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber in the Red Bulls putting up a tough fight. It all came down to the final race and a decision to pit Mark Webber early. Alonso could have gone in the very next lap, but Ferrari didn't panic and decided to stay out. That meant, whilst Webber got stuck behind the incredibly slow Vitaly Petrov, Alonso managed to jump him in the pits and scored just enough to beat Vettel in the championship. Alonso and Vettel would be rivals for the next few years. Sebastian Vettel would turn the tables in 2011 and win his first championship, but Alonso came back stronger in 2012, avoiding a first lap crash in Japan to take the win and his 6th championship. Alonso received a big money offer to replace the again retiring Michael Schumacher at Mercedes. They were desperate to have a champion in the seat, and with no other options available at the time, Fernando Alonso signed for Mercedes for 2013. Mercedes were not quite on the pace in Alonso's first year, with the German marquee falling short of beating Sebastian Vettel and Red Bull, but they were the team to beat from 2014 onwards, and teammate Nico Rosberg played his role as number 2 driver perfectly, orchestrating a 6-year domination of the championship for Fernando Alonso and Mercedes. Nico Rosberg left Formula 1 after 2016, disenchanted by his lack of success at Mercedes. Others on the grid, like Kimi Raikkonen, also left out of boredom, and Lewis Hamilton made his dream move to Ferrari alongside Sebastian Vettel, as the Italian team did their best to challenge Mercedes and Alonso's supremacy. But it didn't work, and Fernando Alonso decided to step away from Formula 1 after the 2020 season. A lack of motivation cost him the title, with teammate Valtteri Bottas beating him for the first and only time. Alonso took his 200th and final win at the first ever Vietnamese Grand Prix that year. He left just in time, as the next few years were dominated by a new force to be reckoned with in young Dutchman Max Verstappen, who won the 2021 championship relatively easily and without controversy, because Ferrari was still kind of slow around this time, and Mercedes' new lineup of George Russell and Valtteri Bottas were not able to keep pace with the Red Bulls. Alonso stepped away, taking a year out of racing to cure cancer and solve conflicts in the Middle East, receiving a Nobel Peace Prize, but returned to racing in 2022. Alonso decided to devote himself to winning the Indy 500 and joined the IndyCar series full-time to accomplish this goal, because just turning up at the Indy 500 expecting to win would be ridiculous. He finally managed his goal in the spring of 2025 and has now set his sights on winning at Le Mans, which he hasn't had time to do yet, and claiming his most coveted prize, the Triple Crown of Motorsport. As silly as all this sounds, there is a parallel universe where Fernando Alonso has won 12 Formula 1 championships. If he had kept his head in 2007, who knows? He probably would have won the championship, and if he stayed with McLaren in 2008, then he almost certainly would have won, because Raikkonen didn't care, and Lewis Hamilton and Felipe Massa tried really hard not to win it. And that could have changed everything as we know it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this scenario happened out there in the multiverse somewhere, or is this just a silly impossibility? Make sure you subscribe for more top tier motorsport content. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.